Amazing.
Fucking awesome.
Well, I'll get myself muted and you can go.
Cool.
Hi, Nick. My name is Gonzalo. How are you?
Very good, thanks. How are you?
I'm fine, and it's a pleasure to have this conversation with you. And I would like to start with how is going to a funeral like the one you are preparing for Mr. Fitzsimmons?
What it's like to go to one. Well, we haven't had the funeral. We just dug up the grave. We weren't invited to the funeral. We just found it. So it's, I mean, that's still something that's still in motion, I guess.
I would think that always it's not like a celebration being on a funeral, but could be one time where you can make some kind of reflection and you can go and to end a phase and start a new one. Is that the case?
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, for us, it was more a sign of life than a sign of death to find him, you know. So we were pretty happy, you know, we were ecstatic about the fact that he was, you know, showing signs of life, then within quotation marks. And so, yeah, we're happy about it.
I would understand that after all this time without the Hives record, it will be thrilling to go back to the studio. What was the main difference between the last record and the creative process of this one?
Well, I think with the previous ones, it's been a little bit more, you know, by and by. It's been, you know, Randy's been involved all the time. But with this one, we were, you know, really just left with a chunk of tapes. We had to, you know, go through it all, you know, sort of in one go. So everything was there from the get-go once we found the tapes. So this was a bit quicker, you know, there was more bulk to dig into when we started. But then after that, it was fairly fast. I don't really know, maybe a year or something, or year and a half. That's pretty fast for us.
I would think that the pandemic also has a role in the creative process, like all the other bands, all the other musicians around the world. Maybe the lockdown and being stopped for this kind of crisis would made you as a band more, I don't know if reflexive, imaginative, or to go to another roads.
Maybe, but I mean, I guess that more applies to other bands. Like we couldn't really do anything without the stuff. You know, we don't write the songs, so it's we just had to wait, and it's just, you know, maybe that's it's probably more of a coincidence that it came after, you know, pandemic. But the pandemic was good in another way, that we could. It was actually bad in most ways for us, since we couldn't, you know, we couldn't do our thing. We couldn't go tour. We couldn't do anything, and we couldn't travel away to record stuff as well. We had plans to record, you know, in other places as well, but you know, we were stuck in Sweden. And I think for this record, I think that was a happy coincidence, because I think the record turned out really great, and we recorded with people that we recorded with before, like Pelle Gunnefelt probably recorded most of that record. And then we were working with a Swedish producer called Patrick. And I mean, it was, couldn't have gone better, I think.
We as an audience, we have the chance only to listen to the first single, Modus Operandi. Tell me about how do you chose this song to be the first single, and how was to make it?
I think Modus Operandi is one of those songs where it's, I think it's a very almost, you know, it's a typical Hive song in a way, that it's, you know, it evolves around a riff that's very, you know, very much a riff, which is, I think, where we are at our best, I think. But those, you know, those riffs, they only show up, you know, every 30th full moon or something. So I mean, you gotta really grab them while you can. And that's a sound, like that type of sound, you know, riffing songs, that's where I think the Hives are at their best.
Sorry to interrupt the conversation, but I'm seeing that you have like a set list in that part of in all of you in the board. That's it.
Yeah. That's a set list. Very, very astute of you. Yeah. It's like the Hives set list.
I would like
It's for the show tonight.
where are you right now?
We're at the Fleece in Bristol. We were playing the football stadium last night with the Arctic Monkeys. And then tonight we have a club show, small show, in a club called the Bristol.
What
The Fleece.
what do you
Bristol.
prefer the most, to be in an arena like last night, or in a club in a small show like today?
I think my personal favorite is somewhere in between. You know, I like the 5,000 and 6,000 capacity venues. Those are probably my favorites. But I mean, I love doing in the arena as well, and I love playing the small show as well. So I mean, it's all good. I mean, it's mostly down to the crowd, I think. And if we feel like we're doing a good show and all, but I think my favorite part is, I mean, you want to be in contact with the fans. I like going down into the ditch and having, be into the pit, kind of hang out with the fans, even though you're playing and stuff. But that's harder on the stadium shows because, there's just scaffolding, and there's, it might even be 4 meters down into where you get into the ditch. So it's hard. So, but the stadiums are fun, in another aspect, with the fact that, there's tons and tons of people.
And tons of people that maybe in a small show wouldn't be available to be over there because of the capacity. Let's talk about adding new songs to the set list. How do you do it? You do it like in a continuous way, or you are experiencing if it's working with all the set list?
I think once the Hives puts songs on a record, then they work live. I don't think we have recorded stuff that we've had a hard time playing live, but we can usually sort of rework the song so that it works live. I mean, sometimes it's hard to sort of dig into it, but it's once we play the songs, we practice them enough so that they work live in any situation, really.
How do you think that all this new record will sound live? Do you think that it will be like an energetic charge for the people, or does it have some reflexive songs? Or excuse me, I'm very interested and curious about what kind of songs are containing this record.
It's a very, very energetic record. I think it's probably only rivaled by maybe our first record, Barely Legal, almost. It's very much an energetic comeback. But there are some songs that I would consider, slow songs perhaps, but, they never really are. Like, in a way, in Tyrannosaurus Hives, we had a song called Diabolic Scheme. And to us, that was a ballad. And it's a pretty energetic ballad, So it's, but yeah, it's a very energetic record, which is, I guess, what those songs are the easiest to just put on the set list, because that always works. Because usually the Hives show is supposed to be about energy. And so those songs, they always, match up pretty well with the old stuff.
As we are talking
so
about,
we're doing quite a few new numbers there. Like today, we're doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 new songs.
Well, that's great, but because I can see it's a long set list, really long set list for tonight.
Yeah, it's about as long as we do them, I guess.
I only had the chance to see you on festivals, so always the audience and me are willing for more.
Yeah. No, this feels good. I mean, you get to play now to our own proper fans. So, but it's great to be in the arenas and play to Arctic Monkeys fans as well. I mean, there's some Hives fans coming to those shows as well. But here, it's just us playing tonight. So here it's people who want to go and see a Hives show and party out.
It will be a great night. I would think so. But also, we are entering to the second semester of 2023. How do you see the plans for the Hives for this half of 2023?
I think we're planning to go, full throttle all the way to Christmas. So that's the plan.
And after that, I would think that the death of Randy Fitzsimmons would be like the end of a phase. Are you planning the next Hives phase?
Every Hives record always feels like the end of a phase. It always feels like the last record, but for us, you know, the records is always the start. Even though it feels like the last record, it's always the start of a touring cycle. So really, just making a record, I've compared it to, you know, making a record is kind of like that chugging first uphill on a roller coaster. And well, since as of maybe 2 weeks ago when we started playing the US, that's when we sort of drop in on the first, you know, that first.
Waiting for the twirling of the wagon.
Yeah, the loop and everything going wee. So that's where we're right now, and we'll be for another 2 or 3 years, I think.
So I would think that we'll see you here in Mexico and on one part of the roller coaster, and I think the Mexican audience.
I think the roller coasters pass. Don't roller coasters pass through Mexico? I think so.
Please tell me, so I will be a witness of you saying "we" on the stage.
Yeah, we'll be there.
It will be great.
Be in the car screaming.
For Nick, it was a pleasure to have this conversation with you tonight, and for you and for us in this afternoon here in Mexico.
Likewise, thank you very much. Take care.
Thanks a lot.
Bye bye.